really dangerous thoughts that Jesus could be man, not God, when people started reading the Bible, right? And then they could create a religion that was Christianity that was around that.
Right.
That was a progressive idea.
Yeah.
The idea that could then continue to grow and develop and live is why we are here at all.
Welcome to Tiny Pulpit Talks. We are so glad you're here. This special edition from the Pastor's Study. I'm Reverend TJ, your Minister of Community Care and Engagement.
I'm Beth Dana, your Minister of Faith Development.
I'm Daniel, I'm the CEO and Senior Minister.
Well, welcome into the Pastor's Study. We're going to talk about something we say a lot about, but I don't know how much everyone really understands or knows about, and that is progressive religion. For some people, that is an oxymoron. The idea, well, because I was just watching a podcast today about the belief in this one church that all women should always be silent, and that any church that has a woman on the pastoral staff should be forced to turn their property over to churches that are following the Bible. And it sounded a little bit regressive to me.
This is what you do in your spare
That's what I
time?
do in my spare time. So it made me think about, if that's regressive, what is progressive faith?
Yeah.
And so we often say we're a progressive religious community right from the pulpit. And I don't know if everyone knows what that means. I wanted to make sure you guys know what that means.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it means we're a living tradition, just like we don't exist without people who could see a future that others couldn't see. So back in the 1500s,
Yeah.
the
original progressives.
these like really dangerous thoughts that Jesus could be man, not God, when people started reading the Bible, right? And then they could create a religion that was Christianity that was around that.
Right.
That was a progressive idea.
Yeah.
The idea that could then continue to grow and develop and live is why we are here at all. And it really was the challenge to the orthodoxy. The orthodoxy is that standing order of thought and meaning. And people died because of those ideas. And we're here because of that. So for us to say we're continually progressive is really important. Because we are not supporting an orthodoxy.
Right.
We are supporting a continual living tradition that grows and changes.
Yeah.
Because
With core values and core theologies, but continues to evolve.
Yeah. It's not static or stagnant. Our theology is not static or stagnant, but it grows.
And Revelation is not sealed,
Exactly.
which is where they planted that idea
Yeah.
back in the 1500s.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the last sentence of the book of Revelation says, and anyone who adds to this is basically destined for hell or death or destruction.
I don't know about the book of Revelation. We want to go there.
Kind of revelation we're talking about.
I know.
but yeah.
Well, I'm just saying that the whole Revelation is sealed. Like the last line of that book actually seals it. And so
I was talking with a young Muslim man who was in our church, attending church and wondering about Unitarianism, and I was explaining to him how very, very similar are a lot of our theological commitments, except for Revelation, which where in Islam Revelation stops with Muhammad, and doesn't for us. And that means that you, me, the person on this podcast could have new ideas about who we are.
Yeah.
And continue to grow those, right? As opposed to progressive politics.
Right.
Doesn't mean everyone's
When we say we're a progressive church, it doesn't mean everybody here votes Democrat.
Right. Or progressive, which
or
some people in
progressive, which is
politics
not
would
only
say
Democrat.
are not the same thing.
or that we think humanity is continually progressing, because sometimes it's not.
Yeah, there were some people in our history, of course, who said, that mankind, as I said, is progressing onward and upward forever. Now we've adjusted that theology. Our theology is not static.
Sometimes we don't see that.
Sometimes, yeah. Onward and upward forever, that's pretty optimistic. Yeah, but
Yeah.
Yeah, what I was thinking of when you were, both of you, when you were sharing this, is this idea of these incredible theological innovations that have come into the faiths of some of our sibling churches and then stopped. And that was the thing, like there's no more progress after that. And one of the things about our tradition and our faith is that new ideas can come, I mean, part of this is our rationalism and our acceptance of science as a voice in the way we shape our theology and our choices we make. That alone means that we keep readjusting what we believe.
Yeah.
So
as we learn and as we come to understand things in deeper ways and new ways. Yeah.
But it doesn't mean we're not something.
right.
Right.
Because we do have core theological concepts that come from our history that I think sometimes Unitarians want to cut off at the root and say it's all open to go, we can go anywhere. But that's not absolutely true.
Right.
I mean, God is one, we are essentially good, Jesus was man, our salvation is by our character and what we do in the world. To me, are the 4 core commitments that I've studied historically.
Yeah. And they've been a part of our tradition.
Yes,
throughout.
and expressed differently in different times. So God is one for a Unitarian in 1700 has a different concept than one in the 21st century. But this notion that we can't box God up easily is the core thread.
Right.
And so there are those things that keep pushing us along. We keep understanding, but we do have core theology that we need to not forget.
And also, not to play, I know I sometimes play this in the pulpit and whatever, but not to play the we were right all along game. But so Unitarians were kind of right all along that if you look at the chairs of virtually every theology department that matters, every single person there will say, you cannot box God up. If the moment you identify a personality, a single personality of God, that's not God. And we have been saying that for centuries. And now people are more and more coming to this idea of God is such a fullness, that a human mind can't ever fully comprehend.
Or they're doubling down on the opposite.
Right.
Which is what we see in Christian nationalism.
Right.
God is only one way. There is only one religion. There is only one This is a counter-Reformation kind of talk.
Those people are not chairing theology departments in general, but I mean,
They are at Liberty University.
well, that's true.
And they are at these big, powerful institutions.
Yep.
And, we'll see. I mean,
Yeah.
the good news is we don't go away. Our people, our heretics, our people who choose a different way don't ever go away. And that's part of the good news.
Yeah. We have always existed.
Remaining
In all
flexible.
yeah.
Even amid some of our original enunciators of this faith were members of larger churches and said, you've mostly got it right, but this one thing is wrong. And that is the kind of innovation and the kind of thought that has moved this faith forward, is that kind of break from those.
Makes it progressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, Universalism actually is another example of this whole thing, right? There were Methodists who started saying, wait a minute, God's not going to condemn what God creates for eternal damnation. That doesn't make any sense at all.
Right.
How would a loving God? And so that was a massive thing.
Yeah. Well, and folks like Rob Bell, a bigger figure these days, like coming out
Promoting
of evangelical.
our theory.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Right. No, right.
But that's what I mean, is that people, the number of times I see people from a comedy standpoint, they say biting on us, but who come out and think they've got a revolutionary idea. I'm like, oh, no, we said that in 1500 AD. Congratulations.
Yeah, we don't have to be right, but we do have to challenge the orthodoxy. I mean, that's, I think, important.
Yeah.
That's an important role we have in a way without just being, voice calling in the wilderness or whatever it is. So whispering in the wind. Because it really, what all this stuff does is it matters how we behave. How you behave, how you believe, how you practice those beliefs. And that's what we are. That's a hopeful side of who we are. We just try to keep being our beliefs in the world that embrace people with love and compassion and justice and those things because of those core commitments.
Yep.
That's the living tradition.
Yep.
Progressive.
And fighting for them. I think fighting is a little there's a lot of fighting in our background.
Yeah.
Not necessarily aggressive, but just like when you challenge orthodoxy, you're going to get pushback.
Yep.
And you got to learn how to stand your ground, and you work with what you got.
Yeah.
So
Are we going to get an insurance company to sponsor this podcast?
yeah.
Okay.
Brought
good.
to you by Progressive
Religion.
Progressive Insurance Religion. Oh man, now we're gonna get tagged by them or something in the board. Yeah, it's good. But hopefully you know a little bit more now about what we mean when we say we're a progressive faith or this is a progressive church. We want to hear from you too. Are there things that you have questions about or want to know? Drop them in the chat or in the comments, and subscribe and like us and do all those things. And until the next Tiny Pulpit Talk, we'll see you on Sunday. Take care.